So when I was growing up, Missile Command is one of my favorite arcade games. I even owned it on the Atari 2600, so I could play whenever I wanted to at home. Now, in case if you're not familiar with the game, because it is pretty old, the way it worked is there were 6 cities along the bottom of the screen that you had to defend from a barrage of incoming missiles, by firing your own missiles up at them. So I thought it'd be fun to try and recreate that stage as close as I could in Super Mario Maker, and as it turns out, that wasn't easy. But I think it got pretty close. Now, if you want to play it for yourself before watching me play through it, you can use the code on the screen right now. It'll take you right there. It's a lot of fun, I think. I'm pretty biased, but I think it's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and hop on in here and check out what this level is all about. So of course we have my patented arcade entrance like in my other arcade stages, but this time we have an actual building to go into, an actual arcade. So let's go ahead and head through the front door here, and oh, where's it taking us? Why did the Missile Command tile screen, of course, and it even blows up like an actual game. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I knew I had to get that in there. Alright, so here we are at the warp pipe, the actual entrance into the game, and of course we need our 2 coins to start, so let's go ahead and hop on in. And it looks like we have an instruction screen to go through first, and it says to defend the question blocks. So the question blocks are the cities in this game, in the Mario Maker version, and the question blocks equal vines. So that's why we want to protect them, and we need to use a fire flower to shoot. So I think we got that, I think we can handle this. Let's see how it goes. Yep, and that's the official start sound of the Missile Command. That's how you know it's about to get started. So, and here come the missiles. They are bombs in this case, and you can see the 6 cities are down below. In this case, they are question blocks. So as you may have noticed, the donut lifts are here because they allow me to shoot different elevations. I can actually target the bombs at different elevations. Oh, that one almost got by. All right. So they reach the bottom. Oh yeah, as you can see, they will destroy the question blocks or the cities. So we just lost one. This is actually pretty hard, by the way. This is not easy. Come on. Oh, phew, alright. Doing pretty good so far. Believe it or not, even though I made this stage, this is really tough still. And we just lost another city. Got 4 left though, we're doing okay. Oh no. Okay, good so far. Alright, we're hanging in there. Oh, we lost another city! Darn it! Got 3 left. 3 cities left. Oh, there's a whole lot of bombs coming in. Missiles, I should say. Missiles. So yeah, there's even a lag time between when you fire the missiles in this game, like in the original game, which I really like, or the fireballs. Alright, we made it to the end! Okay, so here are the P-switches. So, what we have to do now is we just have to, hit one of these P-switches. That'll allow us to hit the question blocks. And that'll create a vine we can use to get out of the level. Alright, so taking up to this little cloud area here, let's head to the warp pipe. And, oh look, there's some bombs below, and some bomb launchers. That's where the bombs are coming from, but we don't want any more of that. We want to take them out. We want to protect those cities. Take that, bomb launchers. And we get like a little fireworks show, if only because it reminded me of the missiles in the original game. So, alright guys, so there you have it. That's my Missile Command level. If you want to play it for yourself, you can use the code on the screen right now. I highly recommend it. I think it's a lot of fun. And you should try seeing it if you can 100% it, because even I have trouble doing that. Like, I don't know if I've actually fully done it yet. I've gotten really close. So yeah, you should save, if you can 100% it, save every city and save all 6 vines, or, you know, get all 6 vines up. If you can, post a picture of Miiverse. I would love to see if you can 100% this level with all 6 vines going to the top of the screen. Otherwise, let's go ahead and hop into the level real quick, and I'll show you what I did to create it. I spent over 2 weeks on this level, on and off. Like, it took a long time to do it. Now, before we get to the actual creation process, let me actually just talk about this real quick. So, of course, I have my typical arcade beginning with the door. You can see how I laid it out. So I've got the arcade entrance just a little bit to the right of the actual arcade. So you spawn up here, you see this. And the reason I have the track going through it and back is because otherwise so I could use a normal platform instead of the blue skull platform, but it took too long to get through it. It just took forever. It was really boring. So I added a blue platform, the blue skull platform. The problem was then you just flew it through it way too fast for the bombs to actually go off. So that's why it doubles back, and you actually see them exploding one after another. So I actually had to shake the bombs to make them angry. That's why, so they're ready to detonate after they spawn. All right. Anyways, and then of course we have the end of the level just to the right over here. But let's go ahead and hop into the warp pipe, and I'll talk about how I created this stage. Oops. Because this took a ton of work. I'll talk more about this in a sec. So at first, I just had to figure out the core mechanics, and this drove me nuts. Like, I had to figure out, there were multiple facets to it, and I can't remember which all drove me nuts the most. But of course, the main one initially was, or I can't remember where I started off initially. I might start off with the missiles initially. But, basically I had to have some stand-in for the cities. So you could destroy cities in the game, and I'm like, well, what works here? And I decided, well, question blocks, I mean, they work. But then I had to figure out, like, what could go inside those question blocks. But I had to have some kind of incentive to save the question blocks. And I could just have you pretend to save them and, be like, hey, I did a good job, awesome, and I'll just take a warp pipe to the end of the level. But I wanted to make it like you actually had to save one of these. And so I thought, if I put a vine inside a question block, if the block gets destroyed, you can't use a vine anymore. And that worked out perfectly. But then I had to have some way to block off the question blocks so you couldn't get to them until you actually saved them. So that's when I had the idea of adding blocks beneath the normal bricks that at the end you would have P-switches that appear that you could then use to activate turn the blocks into coins, allowing you to reach the question block, which allows you to hit to expose the vine. So that worked out great. But then I had to have some way to destroy the blocks. To destroy the question blocks, which of course, by missiles in the original game. So in order to do that, I think I figured out pretty quickly that I needed to use the bombs. There's really no other way to do this. I had to have the bombs, and they are a perfect stand-in for missiles. They explode at the end. Now here's the thing though. So unlike in my tile screen you saw, I couldn't shake the bombs to make them angry at first, because otherwise they would just detonate a few seconds after they appeared on screen, and that wouldn't work. They would detonate way before they even got to this point, and the timing would be all off too, even if they did. So instead, I had to figure out some way to ignite them, and that's why I eventually stumbled across this. This is kind of crazy, having winged lava bubbles inside clown cars trapped within this case in front of coins, and I'll get to that in a sec. Before this, I was playing around with a few other things. I swear to God, I sat on the screen probably like 20-30 minutes at a time, just maybe not that long, but just trying to figure out how to make this work. It was like a puzzle, it was like an elaborate puzzle. How do I make this work? So of course I played around with the already having the bombs lit, as I mentioned, and that didn't work at all. So then I tried using fire bars. That didn't work, but they cycle around. I tried putting lava bubbles on a path, like on a separate path beneath, like along on their own track, so they would go back and forth. That didn't work because the bombs got hung up on the track along with the lava bubbles. That didn't work at all. So I eventually settled on having the fire blasters, which let me get rid of something so I can show you. Let me get rid of a few things here. I'm at my maximum capacity, by the way, for enemies in this course, so I'll just recreate this real quick, if I can. I could just load up an earlier version, but it's probably just faster if I just show you this. So, I originally had 4 blasters arranged in this way, in a alternating, so they go off at different times, and at different, elevations. So, because they're here, let me go and activate it here. Because you can see, they turn on and off. So if I just had one set of fire blasters, they would be off more often than they're on, and most of the bombs would get through. So that's why I added 2 stacks of them, and they're both alternating, their blaster schedule, so it actually lit most of the bombs. But even this wasn't perfect for a few reasons. One, some bombs still got through. Not every bomb got lit, even though most of them did, but it still didn't work as well as I wanted it to. It wasn't consistent, but whatever. I was ready to go with it if I had to. Another problem though is once you actually hit the vine and made it go up, you then had another hazard to deal with because you had to climb up through the freaking flames, and it's not a huge deal. Again, I was ready to go with it. It just wasn't great because, I mean, the challenge of the level was stopping the missile barrage, or the incoming missiles. I didn't want you to have to deal with another hazard. So, and then I think there's another problem too. Oh, another issue is I had 4 blasters for each of these lines. There's 6 lines like the 6 cities in the original game. That means there were 24 blasters in total. That was eating into my bomb count. That means I had to have 24 fewer bombs than I wanted to. So I'm like, okay, none of this is great. So so only recently, actually, I've recently figured out a solution, and that was to put a lava bubble in a clown car, but I couldn't have a lava bubble by itself because it would just drop to the bottom of the screen and start launching up. So instead, so another idea I had was I tried, I'm trying to remember. Oh, okay, yeah. So then I'm like, okay, I'll put a lava bubble inside the clown car, but I'll keep it stationary, and that worked pretty well. But there was another problem I came across, is how do you get past the clown cars then? Because, here, let me hit a vine real quick, so I can show you. Even, come on, this is taking a little while. So, oh, actually, this won't even, you're right, the clown car's gone. Okay, let's assume the clown car is still there. Basically, when you're climbing the vine, you just bounce off the clown car, there's no way to get past it. So I'm like, crap, now what do I do? So then I had the idea of, I've been killed by this plenty of times, is after you hit a P-switch, any coins that turn back, any coins that turn into blocks, and if you're standing in front of them, will kill you instantly. And that happens for enemies too. So I put coins behind the clown car, so it actually kills the clown car, which is awesome. But here was the next problem I ran into, here, let me see if I can show you this. With the original setup I had, doing that, oh, did it actually work this time? Nope, yeah, so you can see what happens when you take the clown car, even though it looks like it kills the lava bubble is not dead, it just goes to the bottom of the screen and starts jumping up, which is really annoying. See, I had 6 lava bubbles jumping up and down constantly, which is even a bigger hazard than the stupid blasters I had earlier right there. So finally, I'm like, I'm like, what can I do next? So I had the idea of putting wings on the lava bubbles, because when they're winged, I'm like, at least when they're winged, so here, let me show you this. When they're winged, they'll actually go fly away. So, here, let me see if I can get a better angle here. So yeah, they'll fly away. I mean, it's still a potential hazard, they could bounce off the walls, but it was better than nothing. So I'm like, okay, if the clown car gets taken out, when the clown car gets taken out, if they're out of the way, and then the lava bubbles will hopefully just fly away. They might bounce off some stuff, but they're not as bad as before. But then I realized something interesting. For whatever reason, when you hit a P-switch, and a winged lava bubble is inside a clown car, the winged lava bubble dies too. I don't know why that is, I don't know what changes, but it worked out perfect, that's exactly what I wanted. So they're all out of the way, which allows you then to hit the vine and climb up to the exit there, which is perfect. I was so happy that I came across that. It could not have worked out better. Anyway, so now you may be wondering, why do you have to ride this whole track along this really long intro to the level itself? And here's why. You might remember from my Space Invader stage, I had a whole waiting area up here with all the enemies where they would zigzag along a single track to the bottom. And initially I'm like, well, why can't I just do the same thing here? I quickly realized I couldn't, but I have 6 tracks in this level, like 1 in Space Invaders, and they're all eating up space. And it wasn't nearly enough to have the amount of bombs I needed. Otherwise the level would be over in like 5 seconds because there would be no bombs to go through. So instead, I thought, okay, well, I'll create a track all the way through the rest of the stage. So actually, that's why this is all the way to the right. Because I have a track that extends all the way to the left, and it even doubles back on itself through this diagonal portion, and continues along below, allowing me to add a ton of bombs. But here's the next problem I ran into. Is enemies aren't triggered, they don't appear unless you're actually within a screen's width of them. So basically, if you spawned over here and all the enemies are over there, they would never start moving. You would only have the enemies that are immediately up here, which is basically nothing. I mean, that is nothing. Maybe like one of the ones over here that was over here originally was spawned, but that's it. So then I had to, so that's why Mario's on the track. You start on the far left, you ride the platform to the far right, and it triggers everything above you as you're going. Which also meant spacing these guys was a pain. That I couldn't fully tell when they were actually going to appear in the level, because 1, they're all dropping off at different points over here. 2, you're triggering them at different points, at different times along the track. So, like, even though these bombs appear next to each other, they actually spawn at different points, which made it tricky. And finally, I had the diagonal section, which also really messes up the timing for this later section. It makes it even harder to time it. So I just had to do a ton of playtesting and figure out like what felt right and like get the timing right. Anyway, so yeah, so you ride the track, you're triggering all the bombs. They're moving along the path as you are at a slower rate though, and then you eventually get here before they do, and that's when you start shooting them down. And oh, I didn't even talk about that, but yeah, I figured the Fire Flower was the best stand-in for having actual missiles. And when this level first started, I had the idea of having you actually be the missile and having you run around to the Power Star or just jump on the bombs, but it took too long, the bombs got by too fast, and it didn't feel really authentic. I thought the Fire Flower was the most authentic way. I don't know if you noticed too, I have a Fire Flower in each part of the where the missile bases were in the original game, where you had your missiles, so I thought that worked out really well too. And I added the coins just to show you should shoot along those paths. So hopefully that comes across in the level. And that's actually one thing. So actually, here's two more things. So there are two things here. So this level is a little bit more complicated than my other arcade stages. Maybe not quite as simple, although I think I got pretty close. But also, when you're riding the platform originally, it was just really boring. There was nothing to look at. It was really slow. It was really boring. So then I had the idea of why not adding instructions. So initially, I started off with just destroy question blocks, and you may notice I had the question blocks, the actual question mark icon made out question blocks. And that worked out pretty well. But then I still had this giant blank spot. So I decided to flush it out and added the message. I decided to make a giant question block out of question blocks with an equal sign showing their vines. And I hope that I got the idea across that vines are usually a good thing. So you want to save the question blocks to get vines. And I also added the Fire Flower here. You get the Fire Flower just before the sign up here. I did that so because it actually pauses the action while Mario powers up, allowing you to fully take in what I'm trying to say here. And then finally, you actually see the next sign saying use a Fire Flower you just got, and you may notice it's in the shape of a giant Fire Flower, to shoot. So hopefully that conveys everything I wanted to. So, and then I also added a bunch of invisible blocks along it, that way people weren't tempted to jump and try to climb onto the vines for two reasons. One, you would get stuck there, there's nowhere to go from that. Two, it would kind of ruin my whole effect I have up here of all the bombs and the track, which you can't see ordinarily. And three, if you were jumping all the time and grabbing stuff, it throws off the timing of the level. So I decided to try to dissuade you from doing that by having you just ride the platform. Anyways, I think that about covers it. So yeah, you hit the vines, you climb up to this little secret area, or this little area with the one-way platforms, and then, yeah, you take the warp pipe to the end. This took me forever to figure out. Like, there were so many intricacies to this level. It's by far my most complex one yet. And I'm just really happy I figured it out, because this was driving me nuts. So it worked out really well. I hope you guys all enjoy as much as I have creating it. So again, if you want to play it yourself, you can use the code on your screen right now or in the description below. Please give it a star if you like it. Put a lot of effort into it. Like, really far more time in this level than it was worth, I'm sure. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. If you liked our video, make sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. We post all our codes there as well. And of course, stay tuned to GameXplain for more on Super Mario Maker and other things gaming as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for putting up with me this long if you did. And again, if you managed 100% this level, show me. I want to see you 100% it. So show me on Miiverse or on Twitter or whatever else. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.